Welcome to working with arrays and React components. After watching this video, you will be able to define arrays and their importance in React components, describe how to declare arrays in React, describe how to traverse arrays in React components, describe how to work with arrays in React. An array is a data structure in JavaScript used to store multiple values in a single variable. It is defined by enclosing a comma-separated list of elements within square brackets. Arrays can contain elements of any data type, including numbers, strings, objects, or even other arrays. In React, arrays are commonly used to manage lists of data and are essential for building dynamic and interactive user interfaces. React components often render arrays of elements or data, and there are various ways to declare arrays in React and traverse their elements within components. You can declare an array using the array literal notation as shown. Arrays can be stored in component state using the useState hook as shown. Arrays can be constructed dynamically based on application logic or received data, as shown. Traversing arrays in React components is a common task, especially when rendering dynamic content or managing lists of data. By using methods like map, forEach, forOfLoops, or index-based traversal, you can efficiently work with arrays in React components to create dynamic and interactive user interfaces. The map method is commonly used to iterate over each element of an array and return a new array of React elements, as shown. The forEach method iterates over each element of an array and executes a callback function as shown. You can use the forOfLoop to iterate over the elements of an array as shown. You can access elements of an array using their indexes, as shown. You can render a list of items by mapping over an array and returning a JSX element for each item. Array declaration. Inside the component function, an array named items is declared and initialized with 4 string elements: autumn, spring, summer, and winter. These represent the seasons. JSX rendering. The component returns JSX markup representing the structure of the component's output. It includes a div element containing an H1 heading, season names, and an unordered list, UL element. Mapping array elements. Within the UL element, the map method is utilized to iterate over the items array. For each element of the array, a li list item element is dynamically generated. The key attribute is assigned to the index parameter of the map function to help React efficiently identify each list item. In the output, the items in the array are displayed under the heading Seasons Names as autumn, spring, summer, and winter. You can add or remove items from an array using state and React's setState method as shown in the code as follows. State management. The component utilizes the useState hook from React to manage its state. 2 state variables are declared. Items. Holds an array of strings representing seasons, initially set to autumn, spring, summer, winter. Input value. Represents the value of the input field used for adding new items to the array, initially set to an empty string. Adding items. The add item function is called when the add button is clicked. It appends the current value of input value to the items array using the setItems function and then resets input value to an empty string. Removing items. The remove item function is triggered when the remove button next to each list item is clicked. It creates a new array, new items, by copying the items array and removes the item at the specified index using the splice method. The updated array is then set as the new state using setItems. Rendering JSX. The component returns JSX markup representing the structure of the component's output. It includes an H1 heading, seasons, an unordered list, UL, and a dynamic list of list items, LI, generated using the map method. Each list item displays a season from the items array and contains a remove button. Clicking the button triggers the remove item function for the corresponding index. Below the list, an input field allows users to add new items to the array. The input value state variable controls the value of the input field. Clicking the Add button appends the current value of the input field to the items array and clears the input field for the next entry. The output displays as shown with a Remove button against each array item and an Add button at the bottom. After entering data in the input field, the output will display as shown. The output shows Monsoon has been added in the array list. And if you want to remove, then click on the Remove button against an item, and the item will be deleted. Suppose you have clicked on Autumn Remove button, like shown in the image, then the array list will look like as shown. You can conditionally render components based on the content of an array. For example, the explanation for the code is as follows. State management. The component uses the useState hook from React to manage its state. One state variable is declared. Items. Holds an array of strings representing front-end languages. Rendering JSX. The component returns JSX markup representing the structure of the component's output. It includes an H1 heading, front-end languages. It conditionally renders either an unordered list, UL, containing list items, LI, representing front-end languages, using the map method if items is not empty, or a paragraph, P, stating, no front-end language is available if items is empty. The output will display as shown. In this lesson, you learn that arrays are basic data structures that are often used to store groups of items in a single variable. Some important array methods are map, which makes it easier to make new arrays by applying a function to each element, for each, which runs a function on each array element without creating a new array. Also, push and splice methods can be used to add and remove elements. Arrays are a powerful data structure for quickly changing and traversing data.